Let's make a video here. We're going to make a lecture video using the Windows 10 camera app. Now that in part 1 you've set this up, it's ready to be used. So I have a slide set ready here, and I'm going to go through it to show you the steps necessary to effectively use the Windows 10 camera app to make a full-face video lecture. I'd like to mention once again what a ready reference resource is. I go through slides like this to explain how to do something with a piece of software. However, you can also download all of these slides, which will print to up in a PDF, by using the URL that you see here. That's of course a URL alias. If you go to this point, you're going to download the PDF for these slides. And the idea of that being a ready reference is that that's probably an easier way for you to follow the steps in doing something with software until you actually get very accustomed to it. Probably easier than flipping back and forth in the video. With that said, let me start narrating the slides and adding a few comments as well. This tutorial presumes that you've already set up the Windows 10 camera app on your computer. If not, I suggest that you go back and start with part 1 of this playlist, and you can see it at this shortened URL as well, which I've created as an accompaniment to the download of the slides. Click the Windows 10 camera app icon to begin recording yourself on your computer's webcam. And as soon as the camera app starts, you'll see yourself on the screen. This is the time to position your laptop or webcam so that your face is in the middle of the screen and hopefully with a background that is not too cluttered. When you're in position, click the button at the right that has the small movie camera symbol, and that will start the recording. When you do click that start button, it will change to a red stop button, and you'll notice that the counter at the bottom of the screen begins ticking off seconds. That's how long a recording you've made. And if you want to pause while you're recording, just click the button I'm pointing to here. Click it again to resume recording. Now when you're done recording, click the red stop button. And when you click that button, you'll notice it turns back to white and the recording time changes back to 0. Now comes a really important thing. Click the little window to be able to view your new video. This is important even if you don't want to watch all or part of your video, your just created video. And the reason is, by clicking this, it leads to some choices that make it much easier for you to find the video that you just created. When you click that view little window, it goes away. But probably even a little difficult to notice, which is why I've pointed at it this way, these 3 little dots, they only appear after you're in this viewing mode. But these dots lead to a very important function regarding your access to the video. If you want to play the video at this point, you can click this little arrow and this ball will start moving to the right and you can watch the whole video. But this isn't really necessary because the MP4 for this video file has already been created. Rather than watching it here, I think you'd be better off watching it as the MP4, which it is, in a place where you will be able to rename it so you can find it more easily later. If you do click the video button here to see the video, it turns into a pause button when you're playing it, and whether or not the video ends in this viewing of it, you need to click these 3 dots in order to get to another option that's very important to you. And that option is this little open folder provision. When you click on these 3 dots, this little click option, open folder, appears. Click it now to get to the location that the app has stored the video you just created. Now this is the convenience clicking those 3 dots and the open folder gives you. It takes you right to the folder in which your video has been recorded, and it highlights the one that's been recorded. Let's take a look at what the path looks like to get to this video. And this is where the convenience of the open folder, which leads you here, really comes into play. If you look here, this is the path. Windows, the drive, users, a folder within that, in this case, Jano, a folder within that, pictures within that, camera roll, and then finally this video, which is named simply WIN and with the date and the time. But you'll notice I've created several videos this way. They would really be hard for me to tell apart as to subject matter content if I didn't do something about renaming this now that I've been led to it very conveniently. And if I happen to be looking at the File Explorer in the detail mode, the file would still be highlighted, but you'll notice the names are very similar in the same format. And unless I've taken very meticulous notes as to the precise time that I saved this file, I'm not really going to know what the subject matter is. So take note that the video that's been created by the camera app is not stored where you think it might be. It's not in the video folder. Now it seems the best place here and the best time to rename the video file so you can recognize it. So you might think about renaming it here. So you would right mouse click on it, bringing up this menu, and click Rename, and assign a new name to it. However, when you hit Enter, you're going to get this message. You can't rename the file here because it's still open in the camera app. But here's the conundrum. If you go back to the camera app to make it not access this video, you might very well lose the convenience of this screen in order to find it. So what I recommend you do is this. Instead of trying to rename it here, use that menu that comes up when you right mouse click this to copy it instead. And then place it into a folder. Same name applies here, but you place it there, and it's fine that the same name is there in a different folder. You can copy from the previous screen and use the Control-V key combination to place it here. Now then, you can click on the file name here, that is right mouse click on it, and use that menu to rename this copy of it to a name you can more readily recognize, as I've done here, changing it to RR70 Introduction. Now you can view the video using Windows Media Player by clicking on the right mouse button and selecting the media player. And the video will play. The point of doing this is to confirm that it actually was recorded properly and that it's acceptable for your use. Now, if you're into video editing, you could edit this further if you wanted to, but that's not really necessary. I've made a few blunders, bloopers perhaps, in this video. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be perfect to convey the intent of your lecture. And just as in class, you might have made some utterances that you would like to have overcome, but you can't undo it when speaking in front of a group, so this doesn't have to be any different than speaking in front of the class as you would have otherwise done. When you're finished viewing this, either in whole or part, click on the X in the upper right corner to exit Windows Media Player, which has been playing this for you, and then take the video, which is in the location where you've renamed it, and it's ready to upload to YouTube. And that's really the end of the Part 2 tutorial. Now you've seen how to create a full-face video lecture. The next step is to upload it to YouTube, and quite happily, following immediately in this playlist is my ready reference resource on how to do exactly that. I hope you feel that you've learned from this. Now go on and load your video to YouTube.